Hello, my name's Sarah. Thank you for being here and welcome. Now it's day number one, book number one, so very exciting times. I know. I'm really glad to have you with me. So, just in case you haven't seen the gazillion introduction videos I've made, I just wanted to quickly let you know what I'm planning to do in these videos. So basically, I've got a selection of short stories that I want to read. Now, I'm hoping they're a good selection. The reason I want to read short stories is because they should be finished in a couple of videos, meaning you don't need to commit to something for weeks on end. You can dip in and out of, but also it should keep it exciting and interesting for everyone who wants to get involved. I'm also going to be reading a selection of poetry, so different things that I find that's quite fun or interesting or fits with the mood or whatever my brain's doing that day. That's where we're all. So that's the plan with the poetry. And also I was thinking about maybe a little bit of brain work. So either some riddles or trivia. I might throw things in just to mix things up a little bit to try and keep it a bit fun, exciting, and interactive if possible. Now, I know I'm on my own in a room, but I will hear you shouting them out at the screen. I will. And I chatter away to myself all the time anyway, so we can roll with that. Okay, so before I get started, I am gonna, on the book, I'm just gonna read you two poems. Now, because we are going into lockdown tomorrow, I wanted to read a couple of things that are a bit uplifting and nice. So the first poem I've got is called Kindness, and it's by Edgar Guest. Kindness. One never knows how far a word of kindness goes. One never sees how far a smile of friendship flees. Down through the years, the deed forgotten reappears. One kindly word, the souls of many here has stirred. Man goes his way, and tells with every passing day, until life's end, once unto me he played the friend. We cannot say what lips are praising us today. We cannot tell, but prayers ask God to guard us well. But kindness lives beyond the memory of him who gives. So that's kindness. And then It Couldn't Be Done by Edgar Guest also. Someone said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied, that maybe it couldn't, but he wouldn't be one who would say no until he tried. So he buckled right in with the trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hid it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, oh, you'll never do that. At least no one else has ever done it. But he took off his coat, and he took off his hat, and with a lift of his chin, and a bit of a grin, without doubting or quit it, he started to sing, as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you that it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one, the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. Yeah, can do it. I feel like a sports coach. We can do it. Yes. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to get started. So sit yourselves comfortably. Get your cup of tea or whatever you fancy right now. 5 o'clock somewhere. And I'm going to get started with our book, which is Behind a Mask or A Woman's Power by Louisa May Alcott. So this is the same author who wrote Little Women, who I read in my last series. So Behind a Mask or A Woman's Power. I hope you enjoy. Chapter 1. Jane Muir. Has she come? No, Mamma, not yet. Oh, wish it was well over. The thought of it worries and excites me. A cushion for my back, Bella. And poor peevish Mrs. Coventry sank into an easy chair with a nervous sigh and the air of a martyr, while her pretty daughter hovered about her with an affectionate solitude. Who were they talking of, Lucia? asked the languid young man lounging on the couch near his cousin, who bent over her tapestry work with a happy smile on her unusually haughty face. The new governess, Mrs. Muir. Shall I tell you about her? Miss Muir. Shall I tell you about her? No, thank you. I have an aversion to the whole tribe. I've often thanked heaven that I had but one sister, and she a spoiled child, so I have escaped the infliction of a governess for so long. How will you bear it now? Asked Lucia. Leave the house while she's in it? No, you won't. You're too lazy, Gerald, called out a younger and more energetic man from the recess where he stood teasing the dogs. I'll give her 3 days' trial. If she proves endurable, I shall not disturb myself. As I am sure she is a bore, I'm off anywhere, out of her way. I beg you won't talk in that depressing manner, boys. I dread the coming of a stranger more than you possibly can, but Bella must not be neglected. So I've nerved myself to endure this woman, and Lucia is good enough to say she will attend to her after tonight. Don't be troubled, Mamma. She's a nice person, I dare say, and when once we are used to her, I've no doubt we shall be glad to have her. It's so dull here just now. Lady Sydney said she was a quiet, accomplished, amiable girl who needed a home and would be a help to poor, stupid me, so to try and like her for my sake. I will, dear, but isn't it getting late? I do hope nothing has happened. Did you tell them to send a carriage to the station for her, Gerald? Oh, I forgot it. But it's not far. It won't hurt her to walk, was the languid reply. It was indolence, not forgetfulness. I know. I'm very sorry she'll think it so rude to leave her to find her way so late. Do go and see to it, Ned. Too late. Too late, Bella. The train was in some time ago. Give your orders to me next time, Mother, and I'll see they are obeyed, said Edward. Ned is just at an age to make a fool of himself for any girl who comes his way. Have a care of the governess, Lucia, or she will bewitch him. Gerald spoke in a whisper, but his brother heard him and answered with a good-humoured laugh. I wish there was any hope of you making a fool of yourself in that way, old fellow. Set me a good example, and I promise to follow it. As for the governess, she is a woman, and should be treated with common civility. I should say a little extra kindness wouldn't be amiss, either, because she is poor and a stranger. That is, my dear, good-hearted Ned. We'll stand by poor little Muir, won't we? And running to her brother, Bella stood on tiptoe to offer him a kiss, which he could not refuse, for the rosy lips were pursed up invitingly, and the bright eyes full of sisterly affection. I do hope she has come, for when I make an effort to see anyone, I hate to make it in vain. Punctuality is such a virtue, and I know this woman hasn't got it, for she promised to be here at 7, and now it's long after, began Mrs. Coventry in an injured tone. Before she could get a breath for another complaint, the clock struck 7, and the doorbell rang. There she is, cried Bella, and turned towards the door to go and meet the newcomer. But Lucia arrested her, saying authoritatively, Stay here, child. It's her place to come to you, not yours to go to her. Miss Muir announced a servant, and a little black-robed figure stood in the doorway. For an instant no one stirred, and the governess had time to see and be seen before a word was uttered. All looked at her, and she cast on the household group a keen glance that impressed them curiously. Then her eyes fell, and bowing slightly she walked in. Edward came forward and received her with the frank cordiality which nothing could daunt or chill. Mother, this is the lady whom you expected. Miss Muir, allow me to apologize for our apparent neglect in not setting for you. There was a mistake about the carriage, or rather the lazy fellow to whom my order was given forgot it. Bella, come here. Thank you. No apology is needed. I did not expect to be sent for, and the governess meekly sat down without lifting her eyes. I am glad to see you. Let me take your things, said Bella, rather shyly, for Gerald, still lounging, watched the fireside group with languid interest, and Lucia never stirred. Mrs. Coventry took a second survey and began. "You were punctual, Miss Muir, which pleases me. I am a sad invalid, as Lady Sydney told you. I hope so that Mrs. Coventry's lessons will be directed by my niece, and you will go to her for directions, as she knows what I wish. You will excuse me if I ask you for a few questions yourself, for Lady Sydney's note was very brief, and I left everything to her judgment." "Ask anything you like, madam," answered the soft, sad voice. "You are a Scotch, I believe?" "Yes, madam." "Are your parents living?" "I have not a relation in the world." "Dear me, how sad. Do you mind telling me your age?" 19, and a smile passed over Miss Muir's lips as she folded her hands with an air of resignation, for the response was evidently going to be a long one. "So young. Lady Sydney mentioned 25. I think, didn't she, Bella?" "No, mamma. She only said she thought so. Don't ask such questions. It's not pleasant before us all," whispered Bella. A quick, grateful glance shone on her from the suddenly lifted eyes of Miss Muir, as she sat quietly. "I wish I was 30, but I am not. I'll do my best to look and seem old." Of course everyone looked at her then, and all felt a touch of pity at the sight of the pale-faced girl in her plain black dress, with no ornament but the little silver cross at her throat. Small, thin, and colourless, she was, with yellow hair, grey eyes, and sharply cut, irregular, but very expressive features. Poverty seemed to have set its bond stamp upon her life, and life to have can't get my words out. And life to have had her more frost than sunshine. But something in the lines of her mouth betrayed strength, and the clear, low voice had a curious mixture of command and entreaty in its varying tones. Not an attractive woman, yet not an ordinary one. And as she sat there with her delicate hands lying on her lap, her head bent, and a bitter look on her thin face, she was more interesting than many blithe and blooming girl. Bella's heart warmed to her at once, and she drew her seat nearer, while Edward went back to his dogs that his presence might not embarrass her. "You have been ill, I think," continued Mrs. Coventry, who considered this fact the most interesting of all she had heard concerning the governess. "Yes, madam. I left the hospital only a week ago." "Are you quite sure it's safe to be teaching so soon?" "I have no time to lose, and shall soon gain strength here in the country, if you care to keep me. And you are fitted to teach music, French, and drawing. I shall endeavour to prove that I am. Be kind enough and go and play an air or two. I can judge by your touch. I used to play finely when a girl." Miss Muir rose, looked about for the instrument, and seeing it at the other end of the room, went towards it, passing Gerald and Lucia as if she did not see them. Bella followed, and in a moment forgot everything in admiration. Miss Muir played like one who loved music, and was perfect mistress of her art. She charmed them all by the magic of its spell. Even indolent Gerald sat up to listen, and Lucia put down her needle, while Ned watched the slender white fingers as they flew, and wondered at the strength and skill which they possessed. "Please sing," pleaded Bella, as the brilliant overtune ended. With the same meek obedience, Miss Muir complied, and began a little Scotch melody, so sweet, so sad, that the girl's eyes filled, and Mrs. Coventry looked for one of her many pocket-handkerchiefs. But suddenly the music ceased, for with a vain attempt to support herself, the singer slid from her seat, and lay before the startled listeners, as white and rigid as if struck with death. Edward caught her up, and ordering his brother off the couch, laid her there, while Bella chafed her hands, and her mother rang for the maid. Lucia bathed the poor girl's temples, and Gerald, with unwonted energy, brought a glass of wine. Soon Miss Muir's lips trembled, as she sighed, then murmured tenderly, with a pretty Scotch accent, as if wandering in the past. "Bide with me, my mother. I am so sick and sad here all alone." "Take a sip of this, it will do you good, my dear," said Mrs. Coventry, quite touched by the plaintive words. The strange voice seemed to recall her. She sat up, looked about her wildly for a moment, then collected herself and said with a pathetic look and tone, "Pardon me, I have been on my feet all day, and in my eagerness to keep my appointment, I forgot to eat since morning. I'm better now. Shall I finish the song?" "By no means. Come and have some tea," said Bella, full of pity and remorse. "Scene first. Very well done," whispered Gerald to his cousin. Miss Muir was just before them, apparently listening to Mrs. Coventry's remarks upon fainting fits, but she heard and looked over her shoulders with a gesture like Rachel. Her eyes were grey, but at that instant they seemed black with some strong emotion of anger, pride, or defiance. A curious smile passed over her face as she bowed, and said in her penetrating voice, "Thanks. The last scene shall be still better." Young Coventry was a cool, indolent man, seldom conscious of any emotion, any passion, pleasurable or otherwise, but at the look of the tone of the governess, he experienced a new sensation, indefinable yet strong. He coloured, and for the first time in his life looked abashed. Lucia saw it, and hated Miss Muir with a sudden hatred, for in all the years she had passed with her cousin, no look or word of hers had possessed such power. Coventry was himself again in an instant, and with no trace of that passing change, but a look of interest in his unusually dreamy eyes, and a touch of anger in his sarcastic voice. "What a melodramatic young lady! I shall go tomorrow." Lucia laughed, and was well pleased when he sauntered away to bring her a cup of tea from the table, where a little scene was just taking place. Mrs. Coventry had sunk into her chair again, exhausted by the flurry of the fainting fit. Bella was busied about her, and Edward, eager to feed the pale governess, was awkwardly trying to make the tea after her beseeching glance at his cousin, which she did not choose to answer. As he upset the caddy, an utterly despairing exclamation, Miss Muir quietly took her place behind the urn, saying with a wide smile and a shy glance at the young man, "Allow me to assume my duty at once, and serve you all. I understand the art of making people comfortable in this way. The scoop, please. I can gather this all up quite well, if you tell me how your mother likes her tea." Okay, I am going to stop there today, and I'm going to continue that on Fridays. Sorry, I got confused with where I was then. I'm going to stop that today, and I'm going to continue on Friday. But I hope you are enjoying so far. It's lovely to have you with me, and like I've said before, I'm going to be doing videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and hopefully soon we'll be into the flow, and you'll enjoy spending some time. All right then, have a very happy Wednesday. Sending lots of love. Good luck tomorrow for people with lockdown, and I look forward to seeing you on Friday. Take care. Bye.